Your water heater has a hidden valve that can trap nearly 6 pounds of mineral scale over its lifetime. Every major manufacturer says to flush it. Almost no one does. And whether that is by accident or by design is exactly the question. This question begins at the absolute bottom of the tank. Here sits the drain valve, a small opening intended for routine maintenance and sediment removal. It is not the temperature and pressure relief valve, which acts as the main safety device. Instead, this lower port is a simple access point that most homeowners ignore entirely, until hot water runs short or a pool of water appears on the basement floor. The problem is silently accelerated by domestic water supplies. United States Geological Survey maps indicate that over 85% of American homes tap into hard water, meaning millions of systems constantly precipitate minerals. When the lowest point of the appliance becomes the dirtiest, the entire system begins to fail inside out. Rheem, A.O. Smith, Bradford White, and state water heater manuals all specify annual flushing as standard preventative care. These manufacturers define the maintenance burden on paper, detailing exact hose connections and step-by-step tank drainage in their user guides. Yet, the official regulatory system stops short of ensuring these tasks are actually easy to perform. Section 501.3 of the International Plumbing Code requires a bottom drain valve for emptying the tank, but it says nothing about the valve's internal design. Under current codes, manufacturers are free to install cheap, narrow, reduced port valves that meet basic drainage mandates but easily trap heavy debris. Recessed plastic valves, welded assemblies, and restrictive internal ports all comply with the law on paper, even when they make actual field maintenance nearly impossible. Compliance with the plumbing code does not guarantee a serviceable design. Inside the tank, a quiet chemical reaction begins the moment water temperature rises. Dissolved calcium and bicarbonate, completely invisible at room temperature, become highly unstable under heat. As the temperature climbs, the solubility of these minerals drops sharply, forcing them to precipitate out of the liquid as solid calcium carbonate. This mineral scale behaves like a hot liquid stone, adhering to the steel walls, copper elements, and brass fittings inside. Materials scientists point to this crystal bonding as the reason the deposits become so stubborn, while field plumbers find that this crust is nearly impossible to scrape away once it sets. Under laboratory conditions, a standard 5-day test of typical hard water produces 25 grams of solid scale. In an average household, that microscopic crystallization accumulates into 5.8 pounds of rock-hard sediment over the lifetime of the heater, settling directly around the narrow drain outlet. This concentrated accumulation forms a physical barrier directly behind the factory-installed drain valve. Standard residential heaters typically ship with a 2-piece brass or plastic valve featuring a heavily restricted internal port. While the threaded inlet measures 3/4 of an inch to comply with building codes, the actual internal opening narrows to a tiny 1/4 of an inch. When solid calcium carbonate fragments break loose, they immediately lodge in this restricted channel, turning the maintenance port into an impenetrable bottleneck. Mechanical engineers note that this restriction alters the thermal dynamics at the base of the tank. The heavy layer of trapped sediment insulates the lower thermostat, forcing the burner or heating elements to run longer and hotter than designed. This localized overheating stresses the glass-lined steel tank, accelerating microscopic fractures that lead to structural failure, while the blocked outlet prevents homeowners from executing a standard gravity flush. A blocked drain is far more than a maintenance nuisance. It is a primary driver of residential flooding. While the temperature and pressure relief valve prevents catastrophic tank explosions, a failing bottom drain is what typically floods a home. This failure pattern has moved from basement utility rooms into federal courts. A settlement in West versus Rheem offered up to $1,500 in property damage reimbursement for certain plastic drain valves sold through 2023. By March 2026, a separate class action lawsuit against A.O. Smith alleged their glass-filled nylon valves routinely warped and cracked under normal operating temperatures. A professional flush averages $160, a fraction of the $1,100 cost to replace a ruined heater. In hard water areas, this maintenance is required every 6 months. Before inspecting, always shut off the gas, electricity, and water. If the factory plastic valve is seized, do not force it. Call a licensed plumber. Upgrading to a 3/4-inch full-port brass ball valve prevents future clogs. During service, time the flow into a 5-gallon bucket to measure performance. Keep all receipts, dates, and photos. If the tank fails prematurely, this documentation is your evidence when demanding answers from the manufacturer. Neglecting this hidden valve forces silent calcium buildup to destroy your appliance from within. A simple flush saves thousands in premature replacement costs. Share your thoughts below.